Hey there, welcome to your first flute lesson. I am going to show you today all of the things you need to do to get started with flute, including putting it together, where to put your fingers, and how to make a sound out of that head joint. So, if you're new to the flute, welcome. If you already got it out and we're trying to play it, maybe this will offer kind of like a lesson that will fill in the gaps a little bit. But go ahead and grab your flute, grab a pencil and a notepad to take some notes, and let's get started. So first things first, we're going to put your flute together. Go ahead and find a flat surface to open up your case. And what you'll see is that the flute is in 3 pieces. These pieces have names. So the large one is called the body. It's the one that has the most keys. Then we have the smallest one, which is the foot joint. And then we have the head joint. So putting the flute together, we're going to start with holding the body. Now the body of the flute is fragile because we don't want to bend any of these keys. We want to be very careful. So what I like to do is hold the flute on the barrel. This is the part that's a little bit thicker and doesn't have any keys on it. And that makes it just really nice and easy to hold. Then I'm going to grab my foot joint. So go ahead and grab the smaller one too. And you're going to gently hold it like this. You can also, if you want to hold it right on the end, that's fine. I've kind of got used to holding the keys closed very gently so that I can put it together. Now, when you put the foot joint on the body, it goes on the other end. Notice I'm holding the flute by the barrel, and the thinner end I'm going to put on the foot joint. When you put the foot joint on, notice how my flute was lined up pretty well. Oh my gosh, it doesn't look lined up that well according to my video. But anyway, I wasn't putting the foot joint on like this. When you put the foot joint on, you want to just line it up as best you can so that you don't bend the metal. Metal bends and then it gets weak. So there we go. We've put the body and the foot together. Next, we got the head joint. So go ahead and hold the barrel again. And the head joint, same thing. We just kind of line that up, twist it in. You could do like a circular motion if it's kind of hard to move. That's always good and kind of helps with that. And then we're going to line up the tone hole with the first key. So you can see on my flute, is it lined up? Yeah, it's pretty well lined up. Just visually, looks like it's lined up. I'll hold it this way so you can see. So the next thing is where to put your fingers. Let's go over that. Now it's a little bit easier to see on my flute where you put the fingers because I have open holes. Not all flutes have open holes. It's just a style that most professional flutes have. We've just sort of adopted it and people like the feel. Another thing that you might see is different is this key is an offset G. I won't get too into that. I can always do another video where I just talk about flute specs because there's a lot of them. But in terms of where to put your fingers, let's go over it. So we're going to start with our right hand. Raise your right hand like you're about to take an oath. That's the one we're going to start with. And you're going to put it on the flute like this. So your pinky is playing the first key of the foot joint, and then the rest of your fingers fill in the spots. Your thumb goes underneath the flute to sort of hold it. And basically, once you get there, you can always pause this video as you find it. you're going to just wiggle your fingers around on the keys to help them get used to it. Now let's do the left hand. The left hand is a little bit trickier. The left hand is going to go around the flute so that the thumb is playing the B key. The B key is this flat key right here. So go ahead and put your thumb there. Then your first finger goes on the second key, not this one. This one's too far away. So it goes right here. We're gonna skip this little guy and go here, and then pinky key. So notice on my left hand that I in fact skipped 2 keys. I skipped that key and I skipped that key. I'm trying to point without having any hands, so like pointing with my nose. Let me just hold this up for you so that you can see that I skipped 2 keys. And that is where you put your fingers. If it feels weird, that's because you're new to the flute and you have to get used to it a little bit, but I promise that you will. Give yourself time. The best way to sort of get used to it is to just do it. Hold the flute, wiggle those fingers. Doesn't even matter what fingering you're playing. Just get used to holding it. When you do this, sometimes I like to prop my flute up on my shoulder just to like be able to hold it a little bit better. So just go ahead and wiggle, 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 and that's where your hands go. Now the final part of this video and the final step to starting the flute is getting a sound out of the head joint. Now to do this, we're gonna keep things simple for ourselves and go ahead and take that head joint off the flute. Because if you can get a sound out of the head joint, you can get a sound out of the flute. And I think it's a lot easier to start with just the head joint before worrying about all of the fingers and everything all at once. Just take things one step at a time. If you wanted to check out a more in-depth video of making a sound out of the head joint, I do have another one, which I will link down below. But let's get started here. So you're going to pretend that you're blowing over a bottle. Have you ever done that? Like a root beer bottle where you like make a sound out of it and it's like this deep, dark sound. Kind of the same thing, except your flute embouchure might be a little bit smaller than it was when you were blowing into the bottle. So the best way to do it is to think ooh. Like literally say ooh and see what your lips do. It's almost as if you have one of those tiny little coffee straws that they used to have at Dunkin' Donuts before we started being more environmentally conscious. They were very small. They were like, 3 or 4 millimeters wide. And those are kind of like the perfect size of your embouchure. So just take some time to get used to that. You can also think about flickering a candle or cooling soup. Those are good analogies as well. But the trickiest part about starting the flute is actually the embouchure. So I might do a flute embouchure video. Let me know if that's something that you guys would want. I will totally make it, especially if you guys are asking for it. Once you do that ooh, put the flute under your lip, and that's what it should sound like. Now, I don't expect anybody to get a sound out of the flute on their first try. So what you should do is move your flute around and when you hear that noise, you've got it in the right spot. But it can take some figuring out. Move it around and see what works. Ultimately, the tone hole is going to be like centered with your nose. If it's over here, it doesn't really work. So it's going to be centered with your nose and it's going to be like just partially covered by your lips. If it's too covered like this, you won't get a sound out. If it's not covered at all, you won't get a sound out. So it's a very like specific spot that is like individual to each person because we all have different faces and we all actually have different head joints too. So practice putting it under your lips and getting that sound out. And once you do, you are ready to put the flute together. Okay, so just to recap, in this video we covered putting the flute together, we covered where to put your fingers, and then the last thing was getting a sound out. Now, once you've done all of these things and feel good about them in terms of like, okay, I can get a sound out and I sort of know where to put my fingers and I can confidently put the flute together and take it apart. If you're there, you are ready to start playing notes. And the next thing to do would be to get yourself a book that has both a fingering chart and easy to follow tunes in it that will guide you in learning. So I'm going to link my top recommendation right below. I think it's like $8. And then you can get started. Okay. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you had a good first beginner flute lesson. And if there's anything else that you need help with, just comment below, send us an email. I am always happy to make more videos for people who want to learn how to play the flute because, in my opinion, it's the best instrument and more people should play it. So, without further ado, happy practicing. Bye-bye.